So, good God, I've been crying for like 30 minutes and I'm trying to get my mind set straight, um, but, for the first time tonight, I watched the movie Latter Days. And, for those of you who don't know what the movie is, it's a gay love story, um, about a young Mormon man who discovers his homosexuality with another man, and they fall in love, brief whirlwind romance, and he gets sent back home and excommunicated from the Mormon church. And then, um, in the movie, they insinuate that he kills himself, but he really doesn't. Um, um, and they end up together and blah blah blah. Happy ending. What love story? Not love tragedy or romantic tragedy, but what love story doesn't end happily at one point? But it really made me think about how or when I realized I was gay, because there's a point in the movie where Christian tells a story about how his father would rather die than raise a Nelly son, and he would rather die than be a gay man, a gay kid. At 5 years old, he had this epiphany, and um, and it's like, he tells a story about how his father abandoned him out in the woods. They went hunting and he abandoned him, and he got lost, and he ended up in a cave, and he woke up and it was dark, and he heard a sound at the entrance of the cave, and that sound sounded like a bear, and then he pushed the hood off the bear, and it ended up being a rescue worker, and in the shape of a bear. And the rescue worker, thinking fast, ripped all of his clothes off, and shoved the two of them into a sleeping bag, which isn't sick or morbid with an adult and a 5-year-old. It was actually a very sound thinking, because hypothermia, the fastest way to fight it is with body heat. And he had already been subjected to the winter weather for, hours upon hours. He was almost upon death. And I had two main loves when I was young. Um, um, and I can't mention names, because if it ever got out, one of them is actually married now, and I don't know where the other one possibly could be. But I grew up on a small street in upstate New York, called Hardscrabble Road, and I had a really dear friend there. And as we grew older and we began to come into our own, around fifth and sixth grade, we were inseparable. We spent um, every waking moment together, when we weren't in school, and every summer. It seemed like we were always together or going to camp together. And I apologize, y'all. I'm going to get emotional, and this is probably going to be like 3 or 4 videos, and nobody's going to watch it, but I don't care. It's therapy for me. Um, I really loved him, but he wasn't. Um, Sorry, I'm chatting with a friend of mine. I really loved him, but it wasn't the love you have as an adult. It was more the love of childhood companions. And when we became to come into our own, we of course began to experiment, and we were always together, so it was always the two of us. And we did the stupid little things that you do when you're trying to figure out what the hell it is and how it all works. And um, But it was like he always wanted to do it, and sometimes I wanted to, and we were inseparable. And then we hit junior high, and the female population tripled basically. Um, and it's like he just left my life. And I was crushed. Our friendship ended. Um, I didn't know why I felt that way. I played it off and started playing the only video game I ever owned, which was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I can remember nights of spending the night with him, and we would stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning as, little, however old we were, watching Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon and just laughing our asses off at shit we didn't even understand but we thought was funny, or we wanted to be intelligent adults, and it was like, wow. And and I didn't know quite how to take it, so I dealt with it in my own way. And then when I was in junior high, I met a friend. Now, the first person wasn't extremely masculine, and he also hadn't been through a lot of shit to make him grow up fast. My second friend was actually supposed to be in the class before us, but he had failed, so he was in our classes. And very nobody liked him. Very few people liked him or got along with him because they all thought he was strange or weird and mean and psychotic. And I actually ended up being really close with him, and he was I think he is one of the reasons why I always have the masculine desire to find somebody extremely masculine. And it's funny because the bear story in the cave in that movie reminds me of the second guy more than the first, because I can remember the one and only time he ever spent the night at my house. He had black jeans on. They obviously weren't blue. He had black jeans on. He had cowboy boots. He had a cowboy hat. He had a white t-shirt with the button-up shirt over it. Completely bareback mountain stylish, way before it ever happened. And he held me all night long. And that was the last time we ever spent time together. And I'm 29 years old, and it's like I'm arguing with people on YouTube about religion and about faith and about gay rights and about gay marriage. And I know it from an intellectual standpoint. But from a personal standpoint, at what time in your life do you stop and take a look at your life and inventory what you've had? Inventory everything you've ever dreamed. And at what point in time do you take those dreams and set them aside? When are you too old to dream? The old Disney fairy tale is a dream is a wish that your heart makes. And I believe that. I believe that a lot, actually. And so when do you stop? And when do you come to the realization that maybe, just maybe, the dream isn't real, and reality is just something that you have to settle for? I'm tired of having to fight, of having to hide in some places who I am, like at work, and not being able to be free. And I'm tired of having to think that I need to shove myself into some box for everybody. And I know I've said that before, but it's like, when do you just give up and realize that life is exactly what it is, and there is no way to fix it? Being gay is not easy. I'm going to have to continue this in another video, like I said. So I'll see you all momentarily.